A Tree for Toby. Written by TheJollyMariner. Read and adapted for audio by TARDIS9. Henry the Green Engine has lived on the island of Sodor for many years. He wouldn't want to be anywhere else. He loves every part of it, from the sheds at Teignmouth to the bustling stations, from the lush green countryside to the beautiful blue sea, and especially all his friends. But there is one place that Henry loves more than any other: the forest. The forest is one of the most peaceful places on the whole of Sodor, with trees and animals of all shapes and sizes. From the mighty oak to the shy doe, Henry treasures it all. One winter's day, Henry was feeling very pleased with himself. He had made excellent time on all his trains, and he had some time for a rest before returning home. "Come on, Henry," said his driver. "You've earned a visit to the old pine tree." Henry was delighted. The old pine tree was his favourite tree in the whole forest. Though it was not the tallest, strongest, or most noble tree, Henry loved it very much, for it was quite like him. Animals often congregated at the pine tree, and Henry's crew would often feed them bits of their sandwiches. "Take care now," Henry would always say, watching the animals return home. But today, Henry was surprised to find Toby by the old pine tree with some flatbeds. "Don't tell me it's happening already," he said sadly. Toby's reply was cut short by workmen dragging a pine tree behind them and loading it onto one of Toby's flatbeds. The old tramp could see Henry was very distraught. "Don't worry, Henry," he soothed. "We've checked every tree here. Anyone that has nests or birds in it, we won't cut down. Especially not the old pine tree." "Yes, but why must we cut down so many beautiful trees? They haven't done anything." "Maybe not," reasoned Toby. "But some of them are old or ill and dying. If we let them stand, they could be a hazard to the line side and to the animals themselves. And anyway, now they'll get to make so many people happy when they're decorated for the holidays. And don't forget, we always plant new trees for everyone that's cut down." Henry looked down. Indeed, many new seedlings were already snugly in the ground, with others from years past starting to grow besides them. "Oh, very well," sighed Toby. "I'm sorry, Toby. I always get so nervous this time of year. To see such beautiful trees cut down, well, it... Just promise me you won't cut down the old pine tree. It's older than I am, and it survived so many horrible rains, winds, and snowstorms." "I promise," reassured Toby. "You know I love this forest just as much as you do," he chuckled, a bird landing contentedly on his roof. "Indeed," smiled Henry as a deer strode up alongside. Soon Henry had left, and the last of Toby's flatbeds were loaded with trees for the Christmas market. "Off you go, Toby," said the lead woodsman. "But be careful, there's supposed to be snow on the way." With a ring of his bell, Toby set off with the trees in tow. Soon the skies turned grey, and thick snow began to fall. "Goodness," chuffed Toby. "Mother Nature certainly isn't fooling around." Presently they approached Gordon's Hill. Toby puffed his hardest and soon reached the top. But as he began the descent, his wheels suddenly lost their grip on the rails. "Whoa!" cried Toby. He tried to apply his brakes, but to no avail. His driver tried to drop some sand, but his sandboxes were empty. "Whoa, horrors!" shrieked Toby as he approached the curve at the bottom. With a crash, his wheels left the rails and he crashed into a mound of snow, his flatbed piling up around him in a heap. "Ouch!" he moaned. Some time later, Henry had just delivered some supplies to the steamworks. As he was being uncoupled, he saw Emily arrive with Toby on a flatbed. The old tram had certainly seen better days. Many of his wooden planks had been ripped off his frames, and several others were snapped into pieces. Henry couldn't speak. He was in shock. "Thank you, Emily," said the Fat Controller, who had been riding aboard her. "I know the damage is quite bad, Toby, but I promise you we'll have you repaired and good as new in no time." Toby smiled. "Thank you, sir. I'm sure Victor and the workers will do a fine job." "And we certainly will," said Victor reassuringly. "Don't worry, my friend. We'll have you fixed up before you know it." Henry, feeling a bit better about things, puffed away. But a few days later, when Henry visited the steamworks, he was surprised to find Toby still in a state of disrepair. "Toby, shouldn't you have been fixed up by now?" Toby sighed. "The steamworks doesn't have enough wood to repair me, and the logging camps on the mainland are closed for the holidays. And," added Victor, "the mainland's in the middle of a blizzard right now, so they wouldn't be able to deliver wood to us even if they could. I'm sorry, my friend, but it looks like it'll be several weeks until you're fixed. Maybe even a month. I suppose that means I'll have to miss the Christmas party then," sighed Toby, looking down at his buffers. Henry felt sorry for Toby. "There must be something I can do," he thought as he went about his work. To help clear his mind, his driver took him to the old pine tree. What to do, pondered Henry. He looked up at the majestic pine. Though it towered over him, it still felt comforting somehow, as though it was protecting him from the uncertainties of the outside world. Henry gave the tree a solemn look, and though it could not speak, he could tell it understood his plight, and would stand by his side no matter what, willing to do whatever it took to help his friend. Later that evening, Toby was sitting glumly in the steamworks, watching the workers put up the Christmas tree. "Hope I'm not interrupting," came a voice. Toby was surprised to see Henry puff inside, but was even more surprised to see the old pine tree on a flatbed behind him. "I hope this will be enough wood to help with your repairs," said Henry. "It'll be plenty, my friend," said Victor. "But Henry, why?" asked Toby. "That was your favourite tree. It must have been standing for over 100 years. And I'm happy to cut it down if it means you can work for 100 more, smiled Henry. "I'll certainly miss it, and I know the animals will too. But somehow I can tell they're all happier to help you instead." Toby gave a knowing smile. "Thank you, Henry." "You're welcome, Toby. Merry Christmas." Meanwhile, back in the forest, where the old pine tree used to stand, a small seedling sprouted out of the ground, ready to grow amongst the others on the hillside.